Hey everyone, this is Daniel, and this is actually the first of many videos that I'll be putting together. I'm calling them as the PowerApps Hidden Gems series, and the reason for that is because there's actually really neat features in PowerApps. They're just not very visible to the eye because they're kind of hidden in different places in the settings, but they are very useful, and I actually use them almost in every single app that I've made. And every time I talk to people, I say, "Hey, did you try this thing? These, things you click over here, click over there." Anyways, I just thought I'll start coming up with these series of videos, and here's the first one. So in this one over here, there's actually 5 different things that I want to show you. You may have actually heard or seen bits and pieces of this everywhere else, but I thought I'll just go ahead and kind of consolidate them together and show them to you. So enough with the talking. Let me just jump into the PowerApps Studio itself, build something, and show you where these gems are. Alright, so let's jump into the PowerApps Studio. So I'm here, I'm on the browser. I'll go ahead and create a new Canvas app. And as the Canvas app is loading, what I'm going to tell you is actually a couple of things that I want to do. Obviously, there's going to be 5 of them that I'm showing, but specifically there's going to be for the Canvas app. And in this case, I'm going to use the tablet layout. So one of the first things is to do with galleries, and there's actually 3 different hidden gems that I'll show you specifically to do with galleries. So let me just go ahead and actually save this app. I'll say hidden gems demo, create a name, give it a star. Let's try this star here, save it. That way I've gone ahead and saved my demo. All right, so the first things first, the first hidden gem that I want to talk about is the one which is the gallery rows and columns, and specifically how many of those that you can add. Now, not how many galleries you can add or how many rows, like where the items come in, how many of them. No, this is not about that. This is very specifically to do with actually each of the data cards and images. Images is a great example because this will be a great place to demonstrate that. So in order to actually explain that to you, let me get some nice data in. So I'm going to go into my data sources over here. I'm going to add a data, get an Excel spreadsheet. And this Excel spreadsheet, you may have actually seen, this is a very popular Excel spreadsheet that, and this data that I've shown in so many videos. So now I have that. First things first is I'm going to now go in, I'm going to go to my gallery, and let's do with the vertical one. So I click on the vertical, and in that, I'll just go ahead and say, I don't want all of it. I don't want this one. I'll just get one image and one title. That's good. Then let me go ahead and get the machines. And this looks pretty good, right? I'm going to go and close that. In fact, I don't want this icon, so I'll delete that. And this is pretty common. Everything is good, all spread out and nice. But there's one little hidden thing that is actually something that you've not been aware of. And that is very specifically in the gallery over here. When you scroll all the way down, there's something called as a wrap count. When you click on wrap count, by default it's 1. But check this out. If I go ahead and change that to 10 and I just hit enter, see what happens? All these images fill up over here. Now, one of the neat things and the great instances to use this is basically a gallery where you can go ahead and display all the images that you want, or all the icons that you want, or anything which has to be displayed in a nice series like that. This is where you do it. And if you kind of look at it, this is not just images over here. These are actually, each and every one of them are the entries that are coming in from your data source over here. And I went ahead and used this vertical gallery, which is why it's showing up in this way. If I went ahead and did the horizontal one, that would also show up in a different way, and I'll show that to you. But the key thing is, since I went ahead and did the vertical gallery, the top count over here will always be 10. So if you go ahead and do a quick count, that's always going to be the 10, and that never changes. I could actually go ahead and put, back over here in the gallery in the word wrap, put in 100 if I want, but it always just shows up 10 over there. So, and I could change that to say 5, and that works. See, 5 shows up, and 5 actually looks a little nicer. because I was able to go ahead and now even see this other data card value which comes in over here. But what I want to show was the max that is available is only 10, and it's actually pretty good. So another quick thing I can show you is if I go over here and click on another one, I'll go ahead and add now a horizontal one, a horizontal gallery. We'll do the same type of thing. It actually already has an image. We'll actually just do title and subtitle, but I'll actually get rid of, say, this guy here. That's good. And then same thing, data source, we'll go to machines. I'll go ahead and pull all of that. Let's go ahead and sort that out nicely. Now if I go to this gallery, and if I go ahead and now do its wrap count and do 10, this is how it shows up over here. Now you can go ahead and obviously make things a little cleaner, but now if you notice, there's a limit of 10 on the vertical side, and then the horizontal side will keep scrolling as many as you have, but that limit of 10 is specific both on the vertical as well as the horizontal side, and that you can't really change. But you can make things a little nicer, right? You go ahead and do that. I reduce the images sizes a little bit, and just make it a little bit nice and pretty, and it works really well. So that was the first hidden gem, and that is the word, the wrap count over there. Let's go to the second one. And the second one is actually a pretty neat thing that is already available, and for the sake of that, I'll actually use this one as an example. I'll actually delete that screen over here. I'll keep the first screen available. Now in this screen, there's another pretty neat feature that's available, and I've not seen a whole bunch of people use that. I actually use it a lot, specifically if I've got a lot of galleries. And just to make it a little bit more nicer, let's go ahead and do that to say 5. That looks good. And now in gallery, when I go and click on gallery, right in the sections over here let me make sure, just to make sure I've selected the gallery over here. Remember, we were at the word, the wrap count. This section over there called transition. By default, transition is none, but when you go and click on it, it actually gives you two options. It gives you the pop and it gives you the push. The reason I really like to use this is because now when you scroll or hover your mouse around it, it actually tells you or the end user which item or which data card in that gallery you're looking at. So check this out. I'm going to say, let's try pop first. So I'll do pop, and in fact, let's go back again. Was that none before? So we'll leave it as whatever it was. The thing was transition was none. So now if I go ahead and just take a look at it, it's all good. Hovering my mouse around, I'm doing clicking, it's all there. But now when I go back over here in my transition and I change transition to pop, watch what happens. Now when I go in here, moment I hover my mouse around that, you see it's actually popping out a little bit. That is so cool. I really like that, because now it gives the end users that feel that, oh, this is exactly where I'm hovering over, especially when you do it on the desktop side, when you have a mouse over here. See how it gives you that capability that it's popping out. But there's a flip side version to it as well. If I go ahead and now click on pop, there is actually also a push. Almost a similar thing. See, just a little bit of a difference. But all in all, it's actually a really nice feature available over here. Again, out of the box, no formulas or anything available. This is one of those hidden gems, the second one that I was showing you about. And that's what it was, is the actual feature or the function that is available inside the gallery, and that was transition. So that was the second one. All right, let's go to the third one. And the third one, you actually may have heard quite a few people seen it. In fact, many of my demos, in fact, my formulas and all the articles that I've had, I've already gone ahead and provided this. But again, I don't see a lot of people use it, so I want to provide that to you. And the biggest functionality availability for this one is that now if I go ahead and I say I already have the transition and everything is good, if I click on something, I don't know which one I clicked. And that is a key thing for end users, because especially if you start having a lot of galleries and you're doing filtering, you need to know where you clicked. And there's this really simple functionality that's available in galleries over here. So when I select on gallery, there is this thing called as template fill. So when I click on template fill, by default it is just, you know, no color. But if you put in, and I'm providing you this formula over here. Let me just copy and paste it. And I'll paste this one, which I always kind of use, but I'll show you how you can change around with it. So now you notice that by default, and this also helps in one thing, because, you know, even though you haven't selected it, even though you don't really know what it is, by default in a gallery, the first one is always highlighted. It's always selected. This really helps you kind of show that, because if you're doing filtering, you might say that by default, I'm always having the first one filtered and I want to change that. Why is this happening? Well, now you know that by default, the first one is getting filtered over here. So check out this formula over here. What I'm basically saying that if this item in that template is selected, then go ahead and give it that green, yellow color. Otherwise, just have no color over there. And then you can go ahead and change these to whatever you want. You can just leave it at green. You know, you can put it at whatever else you want, but I'm going to go with green, yellow. And then you can go ahead and change this one as well. If you don't want it selected, then you can change that color. But now, you see the combination that's going on? I'm able to hover with the transition. When I select on it, the color comes in over there. So now I know at any point, two things. I know where my mouse is over, where it's hovering over, and then I also know where I went ahead and selected. So this little information over here, this hidden gems over here, really brings out the, you know, the really good user interface feeling for building that app. So that was the third gem. All right, so let's go ahead and now look at the fourth gem. So in the fourth one, it's actually to do with the confirm before you close type of pop-up. So I'll show you basically what that means. And before I move forward, I want to go ahead and save that. I'll go ahead and publish it too, because I'm going to need to demonstrate this app to you guys a bit. All right, so a couple of things you might have already noticed. Let's say here's the app itself. Now I go ahead and just refreshing the app, nothing big over here. I'm selecting it. All right, I select the app, I go ahead and play, and this is how the app shows up over here. All right, nothing big, nothing fancy. If I go ahead and try to say close, it just closes. Now in this scenario, it's really not a bad problem, because all you're doing is viewing. But let's take this app to a little different level. I'm going to go ahead and create another blank screen just to be on the safe side. I'll move this screen up, so I'll make that as the you know, screen, primary screen 1. Right, it's good. Let me go ahead and add a data source. We'll put in, say, a data source of my Azure SQL, and it's basically just me entering a very simple form to submit some data in over there. Nothing too fancy over there, but I'm doing this to illustrate that one little you know, gem which is there, which is basically now when you have that feature turned on, it will confirm before you close. So what I am going to do is I'll just do this primary test. It's in the form, you will see it's a very simple form, just to go ahead and add this data. So in this section over here, data source, primary 1, edit fields, I'll add the field, and I'll just say I'm going to put in the project name, start date, description, and you'll see my form shows up over here. I'll change that to say 1 columns. Yep, all is good. Obviously, if I go and click on play, nothing shows up. That's because I need to put in for the item, I need to put in default. You guys all know this. At least this is nothing new. You know, this is still all out of the box, and none of the things over here. But I just want to do a quick test. Okay, all right. So let's go back and save it, publish it. And we'll redo that thing where I've got this form to fill. I want users to go ahead and fill this form. I actually want them to even go ahead and submit it. And say if your form is a really complicated form where people have to go ahead and fill in information and make sure they don't miss anything. Well, in that case, if somebody accidentally went to close the browser, or they just closed that one tab in the browser, we don't want the form to close just like that, because there's information which is filled over there. And right now, out of the box as it is, without any changes in the settings, if you've gone ahead and started filling the form, it's not going to do anything. I mean, it will fill the form and you try to close it, it'll just close it. Let me demonstrate that to you. So we went ahead and added that simple field over there. and the form, and I'm going to say this is a test. I'll go ahead and pick today, a date for say today. Okay, testing, and somewhere in the process I accidentally went ahead and did this. It just closed. There was no pop-up or anything that said that, oh my gosh, I went ahead and accidentally closed it. And this was a simple form. There were only 3 different fields over there. But what if there was a really complicated form that you had to go and fill and everything, and now the end user accidentally went ahead and hit their hand on the back of their hand on the mouse or something like that, and the form closed. You just lost all that input that you put in. So in order to save you some of that problems, there's actually a couple of features available. But the key that I want to show one right now, the hidden gem, is the option to now confirm exit. So in order for that confirm exit to work, right now you just want to go ahead and in the preview features there's something called as delayed load. So you want to turn that off. Now this is not always necessary, but it is recommended that you go ahead and turn that delayed load to off. It's by default on. Go ahead and turn that off. That way the confirm exit will always work. That's one thing. Second thing is, now you come over here on the app, and on the app in the on start there's something called as confirm exit. So when I go ahead and click on confirm exit, by default it is at false. Well, I'm going to change that to true. So you can do that. See, also if you come to the right over here, now confirm exit is set to is on, which is because it's true over there. You can also go ahead and put in any confirm exit message. So I'll say, you might lose, or you will lose all the information. So I'll just say that as well. All right. Go ahead and click on File, Save, Publish, and once it goes through, we'll go back to the app over here, because that's what I want to do the real testing. I'll go ahead and just refresh my browser, make sure I'm not missing anything. Now I'll click on play and watch what happens. Just an everyday app. When I go ahead and see the app loads over there, the form comes up and I start filling in some information. Testing this new feature. Put in that's over here, test. And now watch, say for whatever reason I accidentally go ahead and click this one. Watch what happens. You now get this pop up over here, and basically just not only is it over here on the cancel side, I mean just on this one over here, but if I go ahead and try to close the entire browser, I get this over here. So I can click on cancel. Even if I go and try to do, if I had the option to actually go and do a backspace, that's also when it will pop up over here. So all these 3 places now give you that secondary option to say, hey, are you really sure you want to go ahead and close this form? Because if you remember, when I did 2 minutes ago, before I went and turned on that feature, it just closed. I mean, all the data that I entered, I just lost it. So now, once again, with that confirm exit turned on, I get this pop-up over here that's available, not just for the tab, but the entire browser as well. It comes up over here. So it's a pretty handy thing over here. So again, that was the 4th hidden gem over there. And then last but definitely not the least, it's the one which I've actually used a lot. It's also been there for quite a while, but it's a little bit kind of really hidden because there's no setting anywhere to go turn on. It is something that you need to actually add into the browser. So I'll show you what that is. So once again, let me just go and save all of this. Right, it's good. We're good over here. Good over here as well. In fact, I'll just use this as an example. So watch. Well, now when I go ahead and actually, well, let me come back here. Leave. I'm here. I click the play button, or when the app comes up, you see this ribbon over here. This is the PowerApps ribbon that is available. If you even go ahead and send somebody, say here's the link to the app, somebody inside your company, you go ahead and say here's the link to the app, they don't even need to log into the browser, into the PowerApps and go and click on the app. You can just basically go and send them the link to the entire app itself. This link, if they are internal and they're authenticated, they will still see this ribbon over here. But there's a little trick you can do, and it'll actually go ahead and hide that altogether. So what do you need to do? There's a little trick. So I'll actually copy this over here. I'll open it up in this notepad so you can see what is the change that I'm doing. See here, I'm gonna go ahead and keep this entire as it is. I'll keep all of this, and then I'll keep the tenant ID. And then what I'm going to do next is I'll go ahead and get just the app ID piece. So close that over here. And I got the PowerApps, app ID, everything. And then you end it with this little code. And that code is and hide navbar equals true. So watch what happens. I'm going to do that. See, right now I see that navigation here. I see that ribbon. Now with my hide navbar equals true, after the tenant ID, after the PowerApps ID, watch what happens. Yeah, that's fine. You see that? I went ahead and hid that entire PowerApps one. Now somebody might say, this is cool, but what exactly is the use of it? Well, if you're the person who's going to now just provide links to people to the website, say this is like a website, the end user won't even know that this is running on PowerApps because there's no way to see it. Unless they actually go ahead and read a URL, they won't even know that this is running on PowerApps because there is no PowerApps ribbon that is showing over there. That ribbon is hidden because of the hide navbar equals true. So, and like I said, people, if you don't want people to log into PowerApps in the PowerApps website and click on the app, you can just go ahead and give them this URL. They're in your company anyway. They have their subscription to use PowerApps. You just directly want them to go and hit the app directly from the browser, and you don't even want them to know it's PowerApps. This is the way to do it. That you can actually go ahead and now do the hide navigation bar option over there. So this was the fifth hidden gem that I showed. And just as a recap, we went ahead and actually saw 5 hidden gems. Again, there was all available over there. It's just hidden. We went and saw the galleries section over there. How we can add the galleries and rows and go and fill them up. And the option over there, the limit was only 10 for now, but it made it really nice. I went and showed you how you can do the pop and the push, because that just makes the hovering and the UI interface so cool. Showed you the template fill, because when you after the hovering, if you select on something, it will highlight it, so you actually know what it is that you've selected. So that combination of pop and push plus that template fill is pretty neat over there. The fourth one is a really important one as well, and that is to confirm before you close. And the confirm before you close will actually now stop you from deleting. When you actually have the app running, it'll stop you from closing it, so that you don't lose all the data that you have in the form. And then the last but definitely not the least, I showed you how you can go and hide this PowerApps navigation or this PowerApps ribbon over there by adding that little postfix in the URL. So hope this hidden gems video was helpful to you. It just takes your app to that next level, makes it a little nicer. And as I said, this is just the first of the many more to come. And as always, if you enjoy these videos, go ahead and subscribe. It'll help you to alert you for all the new videos that are going to come out over there. And as always, keep power apping. Thanks.